Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're talking about how you can play a song by Simple Minds called Don't You Forget About Me. And it starts on a D major chord for our intro, and the way you play D major, first finger is going to go to the G string on the second fret, second finger is going to go to the high E on the second fret, and third finger is going to go to the B string on the third fret. And if you strum just the D, G, B, and E, kind of the skinny four strings of the guitar, that'll get you your clear sound with that, and that's called D major. And on our intro, we're going from D major to an E major chord. And when we play E major, first finger is going to go to the G string on the first fret, second finger on the A string on the second fret, and third finger on the D string on the second fret. And if you strum all the strings with that, that's called an E major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. So we kind of start out D, E, and then we do another E, and then we go back to D, E, and then we go to a C major chord. And the way you play C major, first finger is going to go to the B string on the first fret, second finger is going to go to the D string on the second fret, third finger is going to go to the A string on the third fret. And if you strum all the strings with that, that sounds a C major chord. And on our intro, we got kind of C major, D major, and then D major, E major, E major, and then D major, E major, C major, D major. So that would be one way to play it, and that's actually something I call blocking, where you just do down on every chord. But a lot of times with a song like this, to make it more interesting, I like adding something called a strum pattern. And one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, up, down, up. So we took the D and just tried that a lot. We have down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So if we just did down, down, up on some of those chords that we're having in our intro, then we'd have D with down, down, up, E, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, E, down, down, C, down, down, D, down, down, D, down, down, D, down, down, B, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, B, down, down, C, down, down, D, down, down, up, which would be one way to play the intro. Now what I like to do is kind of half the strum pattern right after the first two downs. So what sounds more like the recording is kind of take the D, and if you do a down, down, and then go to the E for the up, and then the up, down, the strum pattern. So you have D with down, down, E on the up, down, up, and then we got that whole E strum pattern. Down, down, up, down, D, down, down, E on the up, down, C on the down, down, E on the up, down, D on the down, down, E on the up, down, E down, down, up, down, D down, down, E major on the up, down, C on the down, down, D on the up, down. So that can be kind of tricky. If you need to, you could just go back to blocking that. And then when we get to our verse part, which is also kind of our chorus part, we start on E major, and then we go to D major, and then we go to an A major chord. And the way you play A major, first finger is going to go to the D string on the second fret, second finger is going to go to the G string on the second fret, third finger is going to go to the B string on the second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds like an A major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And for our verse and our chorus, actually, we're just using just E's, D's, and A's. And we get to do our whole strum pattern on all those chords. So you got E down, up, down, D down, down, up, down, A down, down, up, down, D down, down, up, down, E down, down, up, down, D down, down, up, down, A down, down, up, down, D down, 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 up. Now something else you may want to think about adding to this strum pattern actually is some bass notes. So one thing you could do is kind of substitute that first down that you're playing for a bass note for the chords. And if you did that on the E major, you'd have the low E string for your bass. So we got E with the low E bass, down, up, down, E with the low E bass, down, down, E with the low E bass, down, down. But then on the D chord, you can do the D string for your bass, because that's the lowest note with the name of the chord is on the D string. So on the D, you got D bass, down, down, up, D bass, down, down. And then on the A major, you can do the A string for your bass. You have A bass, down, down, up, A bass, down, down, up, A bass, down, down, up. So we tried that through our verse chorus. You have E with the low E bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down, A with an A bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down, E with the low E bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down, B with an A bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down. So that would be another possibility that you could kind of use on your verse chord. Then when we get to our bridge part, we start on the C, and then we do another C, and then we do a G major, and another G major, and then we do a D major, and then we got another D major, and then we go to an A major chord, and then we got another A major chord. So one way to do that would be just doing the down, down, up on each chord. So you have C, down, down, C, down, 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 G, down, 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 G, down, 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 D, down, 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 D, down, 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 A, down, 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 A, down, down. So that would be one way you could do it. And then if you added the bass note to it, you'd have C with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, G with Louis bass, down, down, G with Louis bass, down, down, B with the D bass, down, down, B with the D bass, down, down, A with an A bass, down, down, A with an A bass, down, down. And then right after that verse, then we go back to our intro that we were kind of working. So you could just do the blocking chords. We got the D, E, D, E, C, D, E, C, D. Or if you wanted to, you could throw that in the strum pattern, and you could do that with just that down, down like we were talking, where you got D, down, B, down, down, up, E, down, up, down, D, down, down, B, down, down, C, down, down, D, down, down, D, down, down, B, down, down, B, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, B, down, down, C, down, down, D, down, down. So that would be one way to do it. Or if you want to throw in the bass notes, actually, that could be kind of cool too. So you have, on those ones that we're halving, we could do just a bass down up on those chords. So we could do D with the D bass, down up, E with the Louis bass, down, E with the Louis bass, down up, down, D with the D bass, down, E with the Louis bass, down, C with an A bass, down, E with the D bass, down, E with the D bass, down, E with the Louis bass, down, E with the Louis bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, E with the Louis bass, down, C with an A bass, down, E with the D bass, down. But I really think it really matches that recording to do that down, down on the D, and then kind of split it with the up, up, down, up on the E. So we tried it that way. We'd have D, down, E on the up, down, E, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, E on the up, down, C on the down, down, D on the up, down, D on the down, down, E on the up, down, E, down, 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 D, down, down, E on the down, C on the down, down, D on the down. And then from there, we'd be going back to our verse part and our chorus part, where we got the E major, D major, A major, D major, E, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, A, down, 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 D, down, down, down. Or if you wanted to throw the basses on that, you'd have the E with the Louis bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down, A with an A bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down, E with the Louis bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down, A with an A bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down. And then right after that verse, we kind of go to almost like a blocking chorus. We got the E, D, A, D. So we just kind of break it down with just downs on all those chords 4 times. But if you wanted to, in the bass part, there's actually some really hip rhythms where it's doing something called a gallop rhythm, which is a down, down, up a lot. So for instance, on the E major, you can do a down, down, up. And what I like to do is kind of take my right hand and kind of mute the string. So I'm kind of laying it down on top of the string to get a muted quality. And you have E with a down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, D, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, A, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, D, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, E, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, D, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, A, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, D, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. So that might be something else you want to try and add in. I guess you could even do like the chord with kind of a down. And kind of get that lick into it. So yeah, just a couple ideas to kind of break that down. Or you could just do the downs on each chord too. And there's also a really cool key. And And there's also a really cool keyboard lick that kind of works around some smaller chords. And a really easy way to do that would be just doing one string where you go high on the 4th fret, and we kind of play that a couple times, 4, 4, 4, 4, and then we go to 5th on the high E, and then we play 5th on the high E again, and then we go all the way to 9th fret on the high E, and then go to 10th fret on the high E. So that's kind of a cool lick to kind of add into that. 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 9, 10. But there are also some little chords that kind of match the chords going on in our outro, which is our verse chorus, that you could add in around that. And for instance, like if you took the D major shape and slid it over 2 frets to 4th fret and 5th fret. So I got 1 on the G string on the 4, 2nd finger on the high E on the 4th fret, and 3rd finger on the G or B string on the 5th fret. And if you played just the top 3 strings, that would be like a little E major chord, but kind of as a D shape. And then from that E major, we could do a little D major in a really cool way where you take 1st finger and go high on the 5th fret, 3rd finger is going to go to the G string on the 7, the pinky is going to go to the B string on the 7. And if you kind of do it just the top 3 strings with that, 7, 7, 5, that's a little D major chord. And then there's a little A major that's really close to this, where you can take the 1st finger and go over the high E and the B string on 5th fret, and 2nd finger on the G string on the 6th, and kind of play the top 3 strings, and that's a little A major chord. So that's kind of how that keyboard hit kind of begins, is you got E, 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 D, A major, and then there's a cool hit you could throw in at the end by taking that D shape that we're on and sliding up to 9 and 10, which is another little A chord. So I got 1st finger on the G on the 9, 2nd finger on the high E on the 9, and 3rd finger on the B string on the 10. And if you strum those 3 together, that's another A major. And then you can kind of end up on another D major chord by taking the 1st finger and going over the high E, E and B on the 10th frets, and 2nd finger on the G string on the 11, and kind of do a little D major chord that way, kind of 11, 10, 10 for the D. So all together you have E, 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 A, or D, A, and then A, D, or you can even kind of punctuate that, kind of on those last 2. So you got E, 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 D, A, cool lead guitar thing to kind of add in. And then we have kind of that traditional fade at the very, very end, where we just kind of fade out on our E, D, A, and on our verse progression. And what I would think about doing at the very, very end is after that last E, D with a down, down, up, down, A with a down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, up, playing a big E major at the very end. Especially if you're playing it out, because then people know when to clap. But that's the basics of how you can play Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds. So good luck!